Part 2 starts from here. Now, as we understood the reason for the inductive effect, let us consider a few more important points about inductive effect. The first point, it is a permanent effect. This effect is permanent in nature. That means when we have a more electronegative atom attached to the carbon chain, there is a displacement of electrons towards this atom, and the carbon chain will develop the partial positive charge. Now, even if this atom is removed from the carbon chain, then also this polarity remains on this carbon chain. It will not get neutralized. So that is why it is known as a permanent effect. And in that case, when we have just positive charge on the carbon atom and its chain, they are known as carbocation. And in this case, because we have a less electronegative atom attached to the carbon chain, so there's a drift of the electrons towards the carbon atom. And now when we remove this atom from the carbon chain, the polarity will remain on this carbon chain. It will not get nullified, or it will not get neutral. In this case, this carbon atom and the carbon chain is known as carboanion. So what I'm trying to say here, that is the permanent effect. Once this polarity is induced on the carbon chain and the atom attached to it, it will remain intact whether this atom is removed from the chain or not. Next, it leads to the polarization of the sigma bond. As I've told you that the first bond between two atoms is the sigma bond, and it consists of the two electrons. So in this case, this one is the sigma bond and this one is also the sigma bond. All these are the sigma bonds. Now, because of the difference in electronegativity between the carbon atom and the atom attached to it, there is a displacement of electron either away from the carbon atom, in this case because X is more electronegative than this carbon chain, or there is a drift of the displacement of the electrons towards the carbon chain because Y is less electronegative than the carbon atom. So due to there's displacement of the electrons towards or away from the carbon chain, there is a development of the partial polarity on the carbon chain and the atom attached to it. In this case, there is a partial negative charge on the more electronegative atom. There is a partial positive charge on the carbon chain. And in this case, there is a partial negative charge on the carbon chain, whereas there is a partial positive charge on the less electronegative atom. So it leads to the polarization of the sigma bond. So where we have more electronegative atom, there the development of the partial negative charge takes place. Where we have less electronegative atom, there is a development of partial positive charge takes place on the sigma bond. So this leads to the polarization of sigma bond. Next, it is transferred through sigma bond. This bond, the primary bond between two atoms, represent the sigma bond, and there is a displacement of electrons through this sigma bond. So the inductive effect results from the displacement of electrons through the sigma bond. If we have the pi bonds like double bond or triple bond, then there is no displacement of electrons through these pi bonds. So there is just displacement of the electrons through this sigma bond in inductive effect. And yes, it affects the physical and chemical properties of the compound. As I've told you earlier, that this carbon chain will develop the partial positive charge. So if we remove this more electronegative atom, it will be considered as carbocation. So earlier this chain was neutral. It may or may not attract electron excess species towards itself, but now it has developed the partial positive charge on the carbon atom and its chain, so definitely it will attract nucleophiles toward itself. Same here, this carbon chain has developed their partial negative charge. So now if we remove this Y atom having the partial positive charge, so this will become carboanion. Earlier it was a neutral chain. It may or may not attract the electrophiles and the nucleophiles toward itself, but now it has developed there's negative charge on the carbon chain. So now definitely it will attract electron deficient species or electrophiles towards itself. So definitely inductive effect affects the physical and chemical properties of compounds. This is the end of the first video of part 2. For the second video of this part and for more videos, you can visit our website transelearning.com. Have a great day.